everyone. Please join us and welcome our guest, voice actor Mathew Valencia, who voiced Tim Drake and Robin for the new Batman Adventures, Superman the Animated Series, and Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. Mathew, welcome to Batman the Animated Series podcast.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. It's been really cool being able to have this opportunity because we were just saying off pod, like, you and I are a similar age. And seeing Tim Drake, you know, as a much younger Robin, because how old were you when you got the role?
I got the role on my 13th birthday.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I auditioned a couple days before, and then they immediately had me, you know, in a callback, and I was there with about, I don't know, maybe 50 kids for the callback. And, you know, I left, I came home. That was my birthday, and this was back in the day of answering machines. So there was a message already waiting for me by the time I got home. It's like an hour drive to Hollywood. And I pressed play, and it was the casting director, Andrea Romano. And she said that she was going to offer me the role of Robin. And it was the best 13th birthday present I could have ever received.
That's awesome. Did you have like a Robin cake and like Robin body streamers and stuff like that?
No, you know what? I don't even think I had a birthday party that year, to be honest. It was like, you know, I got the part, and we immediately started recording episodes because I think there was a holiday episode, Holiday Nights, coming out.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, we wanted to get that on the books before the new year. So
wow, so they really just going for it. So I mean, you were Tim Drake Robin. There was already a Robin before you. So were you already a fan of the show?
Oh yeah, my mom actually introduced me to Batman at a very young age. She had these LPs, these records that she used to play, and it was like Batman origin story, you know, and it was all cool. Like teleplays. So they had actors, and you know, there was a narrator, and it was, you know, a family is walking down a dark alley. A shot rang out in the night, a scream, and then a lady screamed, "Ah!" So I mean, I listened to that growing up. And then she introduced me to the Batman TV show, and we watched that.
Well, when it was the Adam West one.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you know, I grew up on that. The Batman movie with the bat shark repellent, and you know, the world leaders get not dehydrated. Was like disintegrated almost.
Yeah, they were turned into
dust.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we used to watch that all the time as kids. Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up on that, and then I found the Batman comic books and Batman novels, and
wow, you're a big fan.
The cartoon. Oh yeah, I love Batman. Batman's my hero for sure.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. Yeah. It's just crazy because, as I was saying and kind of leading into my point, is that, like, you know, you were a Robin of a similar age to me. And that was not only really cool to see, but now learning that you're a similar age and that you were into all of that, like, that must have just been crazy for you to be like going from watching all of this stuff and ingesting that content as a kid to suddenly being a part of that show.
Yeah, and being of the same age as Robin, the character, or Tim, the character. It was, I got to put myself into that role a lot. You know, as Tim's a fan of Batman, I'm a fan of Batman. I mean, what 13-year-old wouldn't want to be Batman's sidekick? It was unreal.
That's amazing, man. That's so cool. Yeah, I've just been reading a lot of the Batman Adventures Continues, which is written by Paul Dini and Alan Burnett. They're doing a comic book series, and it's based off the animated show. And Tim Drake is in it quite a lot. And your voice is just, I hear your voice every time I read that character, which is just great. I mean, I hear everyone's voices. So the first episode you did was Holiday Nights. Now, if I remember correctly, and I know from other interviews and stuff we've done on our other podcast, at that time, voice actors were all standing together in the recording booth together. So if that was the case for this, and you were doing Holiday Nights, there was a lot of people in that episode, man. There's people like Ron Perlman's in that episode, Mark Hamill's in that episode. Like, what was it like stepping into that booth with those people?
So I love telling this story because it's one of my most favorite experiences, favorite memories. 13 years old, going into, you know, knowing I'm going to be on the Batman animated series as kind of a key character. I go with my mom because my mom took me to all my interviews and all my, productions. Every time I was in a play or movie, my mom was a key figure in my whole acting career. So she took me there. We got met at the doors, I believe in Culver City, and a small little studio. We walk up the stairs and they lead us into like the green room. And I remember they had a full spread of like catered. There was like chicken parmesan and stuff like that, and a big thing of water and Gatorade and stuff.
The perfect meal.
I was there by myself. Yeah, that's my first memory. I was like seeing all these silver platters and going, "Oh, this is dope." And then I sit down, and two guys walk in, and I didn't recognize them from sight because I'm 13. And I don't know people, and it turned out to be Paul Dini and Bruce Timm.
Wow.
And they sat down at the table and Andrea introduced me to them. And I was like, she was like, these are the writers, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini. And I was like, nice
chicken palm.
Yeah. I was like, I'm hungry. Let's eat. But before I could, bust into conversation with them, Mark Hamill walks into the room, and I had no idea that Mark Hamill voiced the Joker. So I started freaking out. I was tugging on my mom's sleeve, and I was like, "Mom, that's Luke Skywalker."
Wow.
What is Luke Skywalker doing here? So she was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Let's find out." So he came in, and him and Paul and Bruce were engaged in conversation. And I was the kid in the room. So adults kind of just acknowledged and then went about their business because they're old hat at this. This is their thing. And then other people started showing up. Kevin showed up, and Ron Perlman showed up. And my mom was a big Ron Perlman fan from when he was Beast on Beauty and the Beast, the live action.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so we used to watch that, and she started freaking. She like tugged on my sleeve. She's like, "That's Ron Perlman." And Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. came in, and she lost her mind. She was like, "Oh my God, there's so many people here that I know and love." And so, I was, kind of meek and quiet and, okay, everybody, let's go into the room. And yeah, a whole slew of actors came in. And I remember walking into the booth, and they started placing people, and Tara was on my right. She was Tara Cherendorf back then before she became Strong.
Right.
So Tara was here. Mark Hamill was standing next to me. And then it was Kevin Conroy, and then Ron Perlman, and then I can't remember. It was a couple other people, and then I remember Lauren was sitting at the end. Yeah. Oh, it was mind-boggling.
And to be 13, like I just
and you've just come off of the audition. Is there no warm-up or anything? It's like, all right, we're going.
None.
Wow.
Yeah. This is how we do things.
That's
I'm
crazy.
just like, okay, let's. Yeah. It was surreal.
And had you had acting experience before this, or was this just?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been acting since I was 18 months old.
Oh wow. Okay.
right.
Yeah, I won a baby contest, most beautiful baby of San Gabriel Valley that my grandmother entered me into. And yeah,
it sounds like your parental figures, your grandmother, your mum, like that, they were just putting you forward and getting you all the best roles.
Well, I craved attention as a child, so this seemed like the best way to go about that. So that actually kicked off my whole acting career and led me up to this point where I'm in this room with all these people.
Wow!
And they do a quick introduction of all the cast and the parts that they're going to be playing, and they went down the line. There's Tara's going to be playing Batgirl. This is Mathew. He's our new Robin. Mark the Joker. Blah 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 blah. And as soon as she was like, okay, we're going to do a quick read through and then we'll start recording. And we did a quick read through. And as soon as we were done with the read through, Mark Hamill turns to me and goes, "I didn't know you were the new Robin. Congratulations and welcome." And I melted.
So nice.
My brain melted. And I was just like, So yeah.
Who did you think you were? Just like Paperboy #2 or something like
exactly?
Extra, read all about it.
Yeah, because there were kids in that episode, like the pickpockets and stuff. So he assumed that I was going to be there for background voices or something, and nobody told them that there was going to be a new Robin because they kind of wanted to keep it a surprise.
Wow.
So, that's how I kicked off the series, and everyone was just super nice. They were very helpful. I learned how to turn pages silently because of Mark. He was like, hey, grab them like this, move them like that. We don't want paper rustling. And Harvey Bullock, I forget the actor's name.
Costanza.
Rob? Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gave me a kind of a good ribbing a couple of times, and I couldn't get the line right.
Oh, so really?
Yeah. He would pop in there and he'd be like, say it like this and stuff like that. So it was.
That's so. I mean, it's just bonkers because there's so many people in that episode. You've just obviously gone through them, and that's just crazy for your first day to really be thrown in because they've all established it. They've been there for years doing these voices.
Oh, they were best friends. Friends.
Oh,
yeah, and here's comes this new kid, and they were just so nice to me. Mark signed autographs for me, and Kevin shared stories about this, that, and the other thing. He actually taught me how to do autograph signings because we did autograph signings at the Warner Brothers store. So it was a great cast, and I had a great time, and they couldn't have treated me, this 13-year-old newbie, any better.
And a nice experience for you to share with your mom as well, right?
Oh, most definitely, because it was nice to have, kind of validation in that, this could be a viable career path for me, and all the hard work that all the time and dedication that she spent taking me and my brother to, Hollywood almost like daily for auditions and stuff, to be able to just see me in this element, actually doing it with actors and actresses that she recognized and loved. I think that was really cool for her too. So yeah. And Batman's one thing that links me and my mom together. And I thank her every day for putting in that time to allow me this opportunity.
That's so cool, man.
Phenomenal.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so were you going to school during all of this? You must have, right? Like as a 13-year-old.
I went to public school.
Crazy.
Did you walk around with big 12. Britches being like, Jim Drake's coming down the aisle, like, move aside, Robin here. If you mess with me, Batman's going to take your lunch money.
Yeah, I wanted to so bad, but high school kids, they didn't really give a shit. They were just like, this kid, all right.
That's crazy, though. I mean, you were basically almost living the life of Tim Drake and Robin because you go to school and then after hours you're Robin. That's crazy. That's nuts.
I had a couple friends that were, key on the inside, and I would take them to, like award shows and stuff like that and premieres, and, they were cool, but, some of the other kids, they kind of gave me a little bit of shit every day. So.
Really?
It was what it was.
I would have said, I know Luke Skywalker, and he'll chop him up with a lightsaber.
So when you got the call on your 13th birthday, which is a crazy story, but how competitive was the casting of Robin? Because you said it was between you and 50 other people or 49 other people.
Yeah, that was the callback. The original casting call, I think there were a couple thousand kids that were trying out for this spot. And it's like that a lot in everyone has dreams of being in, film and television and stuff like that, but they don't understand how competitive it is, because you're constantly going on auditions almost daily. And there are, hundreds, sometimes thousands of kids that are reading for the same part. And sometimes you'll get it and sometimes you won't. And I remember, I would go on auditions with, people like Shane Sweet and Shia LaBeouf. And then we both tried out for the Even Stevens part.
Oh, yeah. And, nice.
Yeah. So I would see these kids all the time. And, it's like sometimes they would get it. Sometimes we would get it. And, it's competitive. It's a grind. People don't understand how much of a grind it is, but it's work, So we would take acting classes and improv classes, and all sorts of stuff, and just to hone our craft. And I have a pretty good ear, which is funny because that's a line from one of the Superman shows.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I do have a pretty good ear. It allowed me to, be musical and pick up, other languages and stuff like that. But it also allowed me to get the part of Robin because I was in a room with 5 other people on like they would just pull in like 5 people at a time. And I was in a room with 4 other kids, and I was like 4th down the line, and Andrea would tell, kid number 1, okay, say these lines like this. And he would say it. And I was like, oh, that's not quite how she wanted it. And so the second kid went, it's like, still not right. Third kid got close, but I was able to, pinpoint the emphasis and the dialect that she kind of wanted. And say, I would say it exactly the way she said it back to me. And so I think that's what allowed me to, kind of rise up over the other kids.
That makes sense, because, if you're in a voice booth and they want you to say a line a certain way and you can execute that just in an audition, that sounds like you're the kid for the part.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. I lucked out that I was able to do that, I think.
Well, and I mean, also you said you put in a lot of time and effort to hone your craft. So yeah, I mean, you rightfully deserved it, which is amazing. Thanks. So, were you given a sneak peek at what the new animated series looked like? Because obviously the animation had changed by the time you had come on board. Did you know it was going to change?
Well, they called me to let me know that I was going to be auditioning for the part, or if I wanted to audition for the part. And that's what they told me. They said that Warner Brothers bought the license back from Fox, and they were going a different direction. They were going to introduce a new Robin. They were going to have a new animation style, but I didn't get to see what that animation style was going to look like until Bruce Timm gave me like a Xerox copy of one of the cells that he had to change, because Harley Quinn was like falling back on the bed and she was wearing very skimpy panties. And Warner Brothers was like, this is a kid's show. So put some shorts on her maybe.
Or she was in a nightie at one point. I think they put her in like a full like nightie gown or something.
Yeah. And I have to find it. I know I put it away somewhere, but I have this Xerox copy of Harley Quinn in panties jumping up and down on the bed. And as a 13-year-old boy, I was like, oh, this is my most treasured possession right now.
So yeah, did you see what Tim Drake, your Robin, looked like before you? No?
Not until Holiday Nights. No. Yeah.
Wow,
that episode came out and I saw it and I was like, oh, this is dope. Yeah.
There's no
I love the animation style.
No screening for the cast or anything. It's like, you'll see it on TV when it comes out.
Pretty much. Yeah. I saw it with everybody else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of seeing it for the first time when it came out?
I think I was still jazzed on, actually getting the part and meeting all those people. But I do remember seeing it and then going, oh, yeah, I know exactly what take they used for this line. Because, we would say it 3 or 4 times. And I was like, oh, yeah. Some people would have trouble. Even professional actors had trouble with lines sometimes. And I was like, oh, okay. I remember he had trouble with this line, but they used this take. That was good. And I didn't realize why they did Holiday Nights before they did Sins of the Father until I was like, oh, yeah, Christmas time. It's a whole holiday episode.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think me and my brother
clicked.
I think me and my brother are vicariously living through this story right now. Like,
yeah,
that's so cool.
Being a kid at the time of like, and just hopping in and being a part of it and being like, oh yeah, that's the line that Mark. I think Mark did that line. I think that was a good choice by the casting call.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's bonkers. And I mean, you just mentioned Sins of the Father. My next question is, do you have any favorite episodes that stand out to you? Because obviously the second episode was all about you and like how you came to be as the new Robin.
Yep. And it was just, me and Kevin and Lauren, and I think
Richard Mole
Tara was
Two-Face.
There. Yeah. And I remember filming that episode and then going, okay, so this is my origin story. So this is most definitely going to be my favorite episode. And coincidentally, it's my 5-year-old's favorite episode. He loves watching Sins of the Father. And he always asks me, because he knows I did the voice for Robin, but he doesn't quite understand like the difference between acting as Robin and being Robin.
Wow.
So he always asks me, he's like, why did you take that cop's donuts?
Well, you know what? I was saying to my girlfriend today, when talking about sitting down and talking to you, I was like, if I could go back in time and tell, 10-year-old me watching you on screen and being like, one day you're going to get the chance to talk to him. I don't think 10-year-old me would grasp that concept, and be more like, but Robin's a fictional character. How am I going to, you know what I mean? Like, it's probably like your 5-year-old, the same thing, right? Like just having that, like, I can't see the difference.
He's kind of getting it, but still, he's just, you can tell it. There's that dissonance there where it's just something's off. But that was my favorite episode for a long time until we filmed Growing Pains.
Oh, what a good episode, man.
Oh man, it still gives me chills to this day. Every time I watch it, it'll bring a little tear to the eye.
Yeah, I mean, very Robin-centric episode for you as well. Mm-hmm. Will, just as a reminder, because I'm not sure, and I just watched this recently, because Will is waiting and holding out and watching these episodes. He hasn't watched them in a long time.
I haven't seen them in like 15 years.
So he's obviously re-experiencing them through the podcast as we're going along. It's the episode where Clayface makes a little girl go off.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, right? You remember that? Yeah. What a cool episode. And so what a dark story as well, where she's at the end where she's like, no, I am Clayface, and like shows her hands and they're all like muddy and what a cool episode.
She's got hair in her face. It was such a magical experience filming that episode. You could tell that through the writing how powerful it was going to be. And everyone in the cast just put their everything into it. I got to work right next to Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
that was epic.
He was probably busy filming Blade 2 or something like that.
Well, it was 2 or 3. Yeah,
right around that time. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and he was a cool dude. Very, very quiet, very stoic. Didn't have a lot to say, but when he did,
he must have looked like a giant as a 13-year-old.
Huge dude. And I think we won an Emmy for that episode, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did. That's right. That did win an Emmy, that episode. Yeah.
The studio got to keep it though. I got no bling on my shelves.
Hey man, you were the integral part of that episode. So there's a lot of episodes that I watched recently in preparation for this chat, and the other one was the episode where you find out what happened to Lauren Lester's Robin, and how he obviously left being Robin and became Nightwing, and you guys are having a chat, and then there's the whole flashback, and you see that. So did he, as you were coming on as the new Robin, and he's there, but obviously he's Nightwing, did he like give you any tips, or is there any stories you can share with us? Do you have memories of sharing with Lorne?
Looking back, I wish I would have interacted with some of the cast more, Lauren being one of them, Kevin being the other. I really kind of was like enamored with Mark and Tara, and just because they sat right next to me. Well, Mark stood next to me, but I spent most of my time talking to those two, and building bonds and relationships and whatnot. And I wish that I would have spoken to Lauren more, found out his experience, but phenomenal actor, and I kind of took cues from him, right? Just seeing the old Robin and knowing his style, his cadence, stuff like that. So I would kind of, I didn't want to mimic him too much, because it's a different character, it's a different Robin. They have different personalities, but it's definitely awesome to be able to work with these people. But I do have regrets that I did not interact more with them. I wish I would have gotten that advice.
Well, I think being that age and then that crazy experience, then I'm sure it's really hard to be able to think about all those things in that moment.
You probably wanted to go skateboard and listen to Sum 41, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was more Green Day for me, but yeah, Sum 41 was in there for sure.
So yeah, obviously you said you were a fan of the show, so I assume that these characters were like the definitive versions of these characters for you as well at the time.
Oh yeah.
Coming in, and still to this day, yeah, absolutely, same for us as well. So coming into this arena, where everybody's bringing their A game, and you obviously brought your A game as well. Were there any inspirations that you kind of pulled for your Robin? Like, you said you had an ear for it, and you were obviously being able to pick up what Andrea Romano was trying to give direction on. But was there anything that you remember at that age being like, oh, I kind of like that, I might cherry pick that and put that into my Tim Drake personality?
To be honest, in the episode with Poison Ivy, where she's creating all these, plant people and stuff like that. I get to melt one of the plant guys, and I give an ew. I actually pulled that ew from Lucille Ball because my mom's a big Lucy fan. So she was amazing. Ooh. I was like, I'm totally stealing from Lucy on this one. I don't think she'll mind. Otherwise, it was a lot of Andrea's direction and kind of her vision for the character. Like I was able to mimic that a lot. So she would feed me lines like, say it like this, say it like that. And there was a lot of correction for, sometimes I would say Batman too fast and it would come out as Bitman. Right. She'd be like, slow it down. And so in my brain, I was like, okay, slow it down. And I went, Batman. And she was like, well, that's too long. Okay. But being the same age, being a Batman fan, I was able to, like I said, put myself into it a lot. So however I would say something, it would come out as me, as Robin. So it was really easy to jump into that character because I find ourselves to be so similar.
Well, yeah, you were the same age, right? And you had that attitude. And as you said, Tim Drake is very different than Dick Grayson, and that kind of suited your personality. And they must have seen that because you went through so many people, in competition to be chosen. So yeah, they must have seen that. Yeah. As we're talking, I'm remembering more episodes. Like the episodes were so good, man. Like, the one which is Never Fear, where Scarecrow's toxin actually makes you not afraid of anything. And you had to control Batman because he was obviously taken over by this. And I remember there's a scene where you tie him up and he tries to be like, untie me. It's okay. You're in charge. And then you stop and you're like, you almost had me.
Almost had me.
Yeah, there it is. That's amazing. There's that one. There's obviously Over the Edge, where it's all about so good, man. What an episode.
Yeah, it's those are two of my other favorite episodes. I would say, Never Fear, and then Over the Edge. Probably maybe interchangeable, but
yeah, there's too many to choose from.
Well, it's just nice to hear that you're clearly a fan of the show, right? Even if you're a part of it, that you're gushing over certain episodes. It's just, it's lovely to hear.
I watch them. Yeah, we have them on repeat here at the house because it's not only just something that I helped create, but it's fantastic television. Yeah, it's great entertainment, and like I said, I've been a fan of Batman the character for a long time. It's way better than that flying alien dude.
Well, and let's talk about that. You got to work with Tim Daly as Superman. There's that episode where he takes Batman's place.
It's one of my favorite episodes. What
a cool episode.
It was so cool. And on another interview, they pointed out that I voiced Superman for one line. And that line was, plus, I have a pretty good ear.
Yes.
And I'm totally putting that on my resume. I voiced Superman. But yeah, that was a fun episode. It was a fun day. Again, a lot of great cast. But the one thing that I actually remember about that day is that's the day that I met Rob Paulsen.
Right. Okay. Great voice actor. Yeah.
Fantastic voice act. I didn't realize he voiced half my childhood.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Well, just to remind, in case you don't know, he's
the audience,
not just you. Sorry, and the audience. Yeah, I forget sometimes that people are listening to this. Rob Paulsen is the voice of Raphael from the Ninja Turtles, and also Hydra Man from Spider-Man the Animated Series,
and Pinky from Pinky and the Brain,
and Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. Yeah, and loads of others,
and some of the animated. I would assume.
Yeah. He did I can't remember if it's Wacko or Yakko, but skinny one. He does the whole country song.
That's right, he does.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh
so
my God.
All the countries in alphabetical order, and it was, he did a little bit of that for me.
Everybody at school, there was that one kid that knew like that whole freaking song.
Yeah. I don't know any of the names of the country. I know this country, and that's about it.
That's crazy, man. Just the fact that you interacted with all these people that, like, it's just the fact that you were that age, that like you were the key demographic and you were involved in this. We've interviewed a lot of voice actors throughout our time doing podcasts and had some amazing interviews. But you're the first one that like has been the most relatable in a way, because you're so similar to us in age, and like you grew up in the same time period as we did and like watched the same stuff. So it's a really interesting dynamic to see someone that was a fan and also a part of it as well, that like, was of that right age. It's crazy.
Yeah, all of it. I watched Animaniacs. I watched Ninja Turtles, Thundercats. All sorts of stuff, man. And being a fan and meeting the people that were, behind the scenes, it was a great experience. And I kind of miss it. I kind of want to go back.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, you look like a young Pedro Pascal. You could get some flashback scenes in The Last of Us.
All right.
I mean, Joel growing up.
Yeah, you did actually. That's a really good point. Yeah, that would be cool. So what do you? So do you want to share with us what you're up to now? You're doing government work now.
I am. I'm actually a senior application developer for the cyber governance division of the Internal Services Department for Los Angeles County.
Holy crap.
Wow,
it's like,
that sounds like a division of Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It kind of does. And it feels like that sometimes. But really what I'm doing is I'm just monitoring mainframe transactions, ordering up jobs that come in that people need to, print warrants and checks and timesheets and stuff like that. So these mainframe transactions come in and we process them and monitor them and stuff like that. It's
Robin grew up.
Got into.
Yeah, Robin grew up.
Yeah. Grew up and became a software developer for the county.
Well, you know what? That's actually,
we can aspire to that.
In Return of the Joker, the Batman Beyond movie, the older version of Tim Drake is like some sort of bioengineer of some kind.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, and then obviously he's also the Joker, which is, spoiler alert, if no one's ever seen that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. But, we haven't even talked about that as well. Obviously, Batman Beyond, and you did that you came back, because all of the old cast was gone by the time Batman Beyond was coming out, besides Kevin continuing as Bruce. So that's really cool. You got to come back and explore that. What was it like being, I know you weren't playing the older version of yourself, but like, you're acting with Mark and you're doing that stuff, and he like turns your character into like a crazy Joker kid, and that's some really dark stuff, man.
It is. And I remember the original animation of it. It was even darker. And I believe there was some controversy. The Parent Teacher Association got involved, and they made us change a couple scenes because it was too dark. It was like too much.
Well, screw that. I want dark content.
Me too. And that one was, to be honest, it was rough because it was different. We did come back, and most people had moved on. But that was the only version of Batman where we filmed it alone. So it was just me in the studio. There was no help. There was no backup.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
was it different casting, directing as well, or was it the same?
No, Andrea was still there, and she tried to help me as best she could. But I don't know. I think the pressure just got to me at one point because I couldn't get the maniacal laugh into the hysterical sobs.
Oh, but I tell you that the way you execute that line has stuck with me forever.
I wish I could take credit. That's
he doesn't want to shoot Batman. He doesn't want to, yeah.
Actually, that was Andrea doing that bit of acting because I couldn't get it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I tried. I couldn't get it, and I bailed. I was like, I can't get this. And so she was like, all right. Well.
Again, like those themes are really dark, and like, you know, you being a kid still, like, I'm not surprised and not against you. Like, you're not Tim Drake going around quipping and like, you know, one-liners and all that stuff like you usually are. You're being told to, you know, bring some really dark stuff there. So
but and it was dark and it was hard, and I couldn't get it, so I bailed on it, and she stepped up to the plate and she was able to do it for me. But it doesn't mean I don't practice that every single day in the car on the way to work.
I'm stuck in LA traffic, just like,
yeah, for sure. Why?
Well, that's a crazy experience. So did you collect any of the action figures for the show? Yeah. Like, again, being a kid, you know,
did they hook you up with freebies at all?
Yeah, actually, they did. They gave me some of the maquettes. So I have a Robin maquette and a Batman maquette that are here. And unfortunately, fell over during an earthquake, one of our Southern California earthquakes that we're so fond of. And Batman's cape broke off, and you know, Robin kind of got some shin damage. But I have them, and I was able to pick up a couple of like action figures from the Warner Brothers store. I have some animation cells, and I actually have an animated cell that hasn't been working for some time. I keep looking over here because that's where my collection is, but my house is a disaster right now, so I don't want to like show it off. But yeah, they gave me. I have some pretty cool collectibles, some pretty cool stuff. Yeah,
amazing.
Can you say one of the animation cells you have? Because I really like animation cells.
Yeah, actually, I have 4 of them. One of them is from Never Fear. It's the scene it's the shot where Robin actually like walks forward, and it's right before he says, "You almost had me." So It's just solo Robin. A couple other are from Growing Pains. I have one of Robin like looking longingly out the window as he thinks of, you know, a little girl. And
Annie, because he saw their little doll. That's right, yeah.
And then I have when he's chasing Clayface, he's like glaring up at this, you know, long parking structure that he has to, you know, grappling hook up and over. Those are the 3 that I have. I'll take pictures of them. I'll send them to you.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, we'll be able to share that online as well if you wouldn't mind. Share that with our
mind
listeners.
At all.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And for my birthday, they gave me an Animaniacs cell where they were parodying the Rugrats.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't even know they did that.
I didn't know they did that either. So they was there, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." So
that's really cool. Yeah. So just quickly, I know you said obviously you're in government work now, so you're not really trying to lead people. But if our listeners wanted to find you and follow you, where can they find you on social media?
I am on Twitter at Matt Valencia, and I'm also on Reddit under the same username, Matt Valencia. I'm there. I don't really have anything to promote necessarily. Just your social media antics and things that you like. Exactly. And if people want, and if people like this interview and they want to hear more from you, then they can go there and they can follow you and see what you're up to. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. It's been really great. Yeah. Thanks for being our first guest, which is really exciting. We've interviewed quite a few voice actors in our time, but I've never come across one that's like as big of a fan because he was that age as us. Yeah. So it's really cool to see, man. Thank you again. For our listeners, go check him out on Twitter. Matt, take care. Anytime.